Thank you for making the time to come to Deer Park on a Sunday. You could have been to many other places, right? But you chose to be here, so that already speaks a lot about you. Either it's our desperation or out of a deep commitment, known or unknowns to you, right? that brought you here. So today I would like to share with you a poem. This is from the Dhammapada. Dhammapada is a collection of the teachings of the Buddha, and they are all in verses. There's the Chinese collection, the Chinese version, and then also the Pali version. So in the Chinese collection, there are 39 chapters. So this particular stanza verse came from one of those chapters. And that chapter is about nirvana. And Thầy has been teaching us, we've been listening to Thay's talks on the different discourses taught by the Buddha. And Thầy used the Chinese translations, and then he translated into English, Vietnamese, and French. And we've been listening to these sutras, discourses, the past few months. And it's been very, very inspiring. So I saw this particular verse, and they are complete in themselves. So this particular one, it has 4 lines. And all the verses really also have 4 lines in the Dhammapada, but 4 lines only are complete in themselves. And the teaching is so deep, I'm afraid that I will not be able to expound on them adequately during this next hour. But I'll do my best. And in Vietnamese, there's a joke. We said that sư Tây nói tiếng nhỏ, means like Western monastics using Chinese characters or talking about Chinese, which means we don't know much. So on the board are those 4 lines. And the first line is said, vô bệnh tối lợi, vô bệnh tối lợi, which means that no illness is the greatest benefit. No illness is the greatest benefit. So these 4 lines talk about what's the greatest. And when I was reading this and preparing for this offering, I thought about the MAGA movement, make American great again. And so I smiled and I thought, let's see what the Buddha taught, how the Buddha thought about what's great and what's greater and what's greatest, right? It's from the perspective of a Buddha. What's great? So the first thing the Buddha said, no illness is the greatest benefit. Now, if we, in terms of business, we talked about, net income, the bottom line, we never think of being free from illness is the greatest benefit, right? Benefits for us will come in terms of, like financial means, the capital, the fame, the reputation, those kind of benefits. Most of us here, thankfully, are young enough and healthy enough. Do I ever think that is the greatest benefit that we are enjoying? I think many of us take our health for granted. Our teacher, Thầy Zen Master Thích Nhất Hạnh, talked about the appreciating the non-toothache state. Okay, when you don't have a toothache, I guarantee right now in our community right now, most of us, if not all of us, are not suffering from a toothache, right? Are we enjoying our non-toothache state? Are we enjoying the fact that our heart is still beating, regularly? And not too fast, not too slow. Are we enjoying all the conditions that we have, the non-toothache state? Or are we taking all of them for granted? Because the moment we have a toothache, that's painful, very uncomfortable, and we can just lose our mind over it. So, no illness is the greatest benefit. That is something actually we already have, that we don't have to chase after. It's there for us. We only need to be aware and awake to recognize that, to benefit from it, to enjoy it. Talking about benefit, in Vietnamese, the word is lợi. Lợi has two meanings. Lợi means benefit, but it also means the gum. So one day, a few years ago, a woman in her late 60s or early 70s, she came to me. She said, "Sister D, I'm falling in love. And I wonder if I should pursue this relationship, if it's beneficial." And immediately it came to my mind, this proverb, this saying in Vietnamese. It goes like this: lợi thì có lợi, nhưng răng không còn. So there's benefit, or there's gum, two meanings. But there's no more teeth. So you got the gum, but you have no teeth. You have to wear denture, right? So I said to her, as kindly as I could, "My dear, if you are already in your 60s or 70s and you have not found the best friend, the soulmate in you, then when will you be able to do that?" Because in Vietnamese, the word soulmate, tri kỷ, literally, it means tri, one, that to remember, to know, to take care of, to master. That's tri, T-R-I. And kỷ, K-Y, with a question mark over the Y, kỷ, literally it means oneself. So tri kỷ is one who remembers oneself, one who gets to know herself, himself, themselves, one who takes care of themselves and master their own thoughts, feelings, the turbulence, the trauma, the confusion, the chaos within and around us. That is a soulmate. And on Friday, which was only 2 days ago, a group of 5th graders, 10 and 11 years old, they came with their teacher and 5 parents. And I shared with them about being a soulmate. I said to them, "Do you know that there are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even in their 80s, they are still looking for a soulmate. Who do you think a soulmate is?" And of course, they said what most people would say: somebody you're close to, somebody who's always there for you, who loves you unconditionally. Only 10, 11 years old, they got this down. right? And then I explained to them the word tri-kỷ, what it means. And they were so open-minded, open-hearted. They really listened. Then later, I asked them, then when you suffer a lot, and knowing that even though pain one cannot avoid, is inevitable, but if you know how to practice, then suffering is actually optional. Then which ways can you do to help make suffering optional? And one child said, I'll sit with my soulmate. They were only here for like 3-4 hours. I'll sit with my soulmate. Another one said, I go get help. And another one said, I won't hurt myself. And you know, I became so teary. For them, these children, to be able to just be aware of that. Just for that moment, I can sit with my soulmate. I get help. I won't hurt myself. I didn't know that when I was 10, 11 years old. I didn't know that when I was a teenager. I didn't know that when I was a young adult. I didn't know. So I actually didn't sit with my soulmate. Try to find somebody to comfort me, to express love and appreciation. I didn't look for help. And I certainly hurt myself a lot. I show them, you see above my eyebrows, right in the middle, as a child, I suffer from a lot of abuse. And I used this coin that had the star shape, very sharp edges, and I scrubbed my forehead, just scrubbed it. And it bled. And it became a scar. And 40-something years later, the scar is still there. It's very light, mostly unnoticeable, but you can still see it and definitely feel the scar. I know there are young people who practice self-cutting, who do many things, who seek pornography. A child said, this was a few years ago, since he was 7 years old, he discovered pornography. And our curiosity in the beginning, but as time passed by, he became addicted to it. So when he talked to me, he was only 15. But he said, Sister D, I suffer. It makes me feel weak. I'm not normal. I cannot look at a girl and think good thoughts. So, no illness here. Of course, the body of a nature to grow old, it ages every single moment. Cells die, slough off, new cells are regenerated. Our body is of a nature to be sick, to grow old, and to die. Not one day, but right here and right now, every single moment. That is inevitable. But how can we cultivate no illness, first and foremost, to appreciate and cherish the non-toothache state, but also to take good care of ourselves and not to inflict more illness, sadness, and pain on our own body and mind mindlessly, unnecessarily. That is, it starts from us, from our own childhood. Those children, they came from a privileged background. It's a school called Waldorf School, so most of them are very privileged. I'm sure they enjoy a lot of material luxury at home, comfort, and yet they were here for only a few hours, and by the time we were saying goodbye to them, one child cried out, "Oh no, we have to leave." Another one said, "When can we come back?" And another one said, "Can we start all over again?" There was something here, nothing luxurious. And yet, they felt it in their whole being, that they didn't want to leave. They had lunch with the sisters. Sisters made a feast. And one sister even said, "We are cooking for future presidents." So I told them, I said, we are going to have a feast because sisters are cooking for you. You are our future presidents, prime ministers, poets, teachers, parents, great beings. If you only know to be your own soulmate, to not hurt yourself, but to take care of yourself, to love and embrace yourself, you'll be able to love and embrace, to be a soulmate to others. You will be able to bring so much to this world in your humble ways. Surely you will contribute so much. And so this no illness doesn't mean that it's like, far-fetched wishing that I'm free of all illnesses, because many of us actually are very healthy, and yet we don't appreciate that. We take it for granted. We actually want to harm ourselves. So this no illness here is to appreciate what we have, take good care of it, to cherish it. And to me, from my own experience, actually, to have an illness is also a wonderful opportunity to practice with. I know people who enjoy good health all their lives. They only get sick when they are a little older, or when they're older. I see many people are not able to handle it, because we may be so used to being like healthy, active, productive. We identify ourselves with our productivity, with our titles and honors, right? So when you are sick, oh my gosh, it's very humbling. Sometimes you can't even get to the bathroom. Sometimes you can't get there fast enough. One of my sisters said when she went to the doctor, she felt like she was like a piece of dough. They kind of turned her over, had to remove her clothing. And she said, I just closed my eyes and breathed, and I felt like a piece of dough. It's very, very humbling. It doesn't matter if you are a doctor or whatever. You're very humbled by it. And many people cannot handle it. We feel worthless. So actually to be young and to get sick and to know the practice, it helps us to know where our value rests. And to me, it's in being able to be a soulmate to my own body, to honor its limitations, to know to take a break frequently, to not try to do too many things at once, to know what's important to simplify and let go of the things that aren't so important. And to be at peace with myself. To be aware that today, this moment, I can be sitting here. But earlier, I had severe diarrhea. And after this, I may just sleep soundly for 2-3 hours out of exhaustion. It's very humbling. And yet, it gives me that deep appreciation for my body, for its resilience, for its capacity to still heal and transform. And so, then whatever we can do, we can offer, is not to show off anymore. It's not to gain some kind of material values or recognitions or titles, but it's actually out of this deep, deep gratitude and joy that this body is still doing its best. And it's also an offering, because I know when I'm down, others, my sisters, my brothers, our lay friends, they continue to make the monastery, to continue everything that's going on, to make the world go round, whether I'm up or down. So it's out of that humble place, and not so much to seek something shiny and fleeting. Let us enjoy one sound of the bell. In our tradition, we talked a lot about mindful breathing. Or when you go home, you may not have this bell, but you can download an app, mindfulness bell, that you can put on your computer. It can sound every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or you can use the rings of your phone or the rings of other people's phone, and just take a moment to come back. Come back to the in-breath as it is, the out-breath as it is, and just simply smile or say to yourself, "Hello, my dear. I know you're still there, and I'm so grateful. I love you." Practice saying that to yourself, to your body, to your inner child. I'm here for you. I love you. Help me to take good care of you, to take better care of you. Breathe, smile, and relax your whole body. Relax your thoughts and feelings. If you can do this throughout the day with the sounds of the telephone, it's deeper, much deeper than sitting meditation, than doing meditation for 40 minutes or for 2 hours. You just do this throughout the day. One breath at a time, a few breaths at a time. But that's very deep stopping. That's deep coming back to our body, to ourselves.